And now for something I never thought I would ever say. Newcastle United 4, PSG 1. Kylian Mbappe, the greatest player in the world, turned up, allegedly. Do you know what he left with? Not a touch of the ball, nothing. The biggest credit I can give the players of Newcastle is you couldn't choose a man of the match, honestly. There was that many of them. They performed like warriors. It was one of the greatest nights in my football life. It really brought back the memories to the Sir Bobby Robson era. It felt like a cup final, but normally that's a bad thing with us. Earlier in the season, we played Man City, the nerves got to her. Even when we were, winning against Liverpool and they had 10 men, the nerves got to her. In the Carabao Cup final last season, the nerves got to her. And my feeling was, do we have enough killers in this team? We had a bunch of ravenous serial killers in there tonight. We killed them. We were like Ted Bundy out there. Oh, that's a bit of a dark one, isn't it? You get the point. We were ready to murder in sport. Not really. So first thing I want to talk about is the atmosphere. My God, is there a better atmosphere in world football? I don't know. Oh, look at that. We are the Geordie boys. Come on! Electric. And without doubt, that played into the game plan of Newcastle to apply as much pressure physically and mentally to this PSG team and all the superstars that they've got. So before we even talk about what happened in the game, let's talk about injuries, because I hear a lot of other clubs who will go unnamed in this video moaning about injuries, and that's why they can't beat certain clubs. Well, against PSG in the Champions League, we didn't have Sven Botman, who was arguably the best central defender that we have, and in the Premier League last season, one of the best in the entire league. He was out. Massive blow. Who stepped in? Jamal Lascelles, a man who played in the Championship with us, and a lot of people have said isn't good enough for this kind of level, and even I've questioned him at times, but I've always thought he's a solid Premier League defender who doesn't get the respect he deserves. And when we talk about players like Harry Maguire, who was constantly, for whatever reason, talked about as if he's actually quite good, just makes the odd mistake, I've always said Lascelles is better than him. So is Dan Burn, by the way. They're both better than him, and yet neither of them can get near the England squad. And in this game, it showed how good both of these guys are. Joe Willock also injured, Joe Linton injured, two of our key midfielders in the squad, big loss, and then Callum Wilson injured as well, one of the top goal scorers in the Premier League last season. That's £160 million worth of talent injured against PSG. Did it matter? Did it shite? So all this chat about injuries, when you've got a good manager and you've got a good work ethic in your side and you're well organised, you can get shit done. And we proved that. And if there's one player who I think surmises Newcastle right now, it's Anthony Gordon. He's aggressive, he's on the front foot, he's constantly looking to create and score, and he sets the tone, because when he clatters into one of their defenders early on in the game, he gets the crowd going. He sets the tone for the whole fucking team. For a player who, I remember Everton fans saying he's not that good, he's been one of the best players for us this season and is vital to our team now. So looking at some of the goals here, you got Marquinhos, who goes to make a clearance, and a player of his experience you think wouldn't struggle with that, but luckily for Newcastle he does. He pops it short, bounces off the head of Bruno Guimaraes and lands back at the feet of Isaac. Isaac works the keeper, it doesn't come off from him, and it rattles back out to the one and only Miggy Almiron. And Almiron, you drive me crazy sometimes, but I have to give him credit, because the cool, calm finish, maybe only he could have done that in this game, because part of the problem with Almiron is I don't think he thinks enough when he's on a football pitch. But when you're under that much pressure, it actually comes in handy, because he slotted it away without thinking. And you see here from this angle, you've still got the defender to beat, the keeper to beat, and he buries it in the corner. That calmed the entire stadium. And at that point, it just felt like, yeah, we're going to win this. But the quality that PSG had, you know you always have to be on guard. The second goal was a tricky one, because as you can see, Tonali is touching it back to Bruno Guimaraes here, and we couldn't tell whether or not he was offside. It looked like he possibly might have been. When the cross comes back over, though, I swear to God, you've got big Dan Burn climbing. I mean, he's 6'9", so God knows how high he jumped here. Like Alan Shearer in his prime, and bashes it over the line. The keeper does get a hand to it, and thank God it's ruled as a goal. And to have a player, born and bred Newcastle lad from Blythe, scoring in the Champions League, and this was a moment I'll never ever forget. Big Dan Burn, arms wide, fucking 2 meters in fucking wingspan. He could fucking fly if he flapped. And one of our own has scored at this level. It's been 20 years since Alan Shearer scored a Champions League hat-trick, it was, in our last Champions League game at St. James's against Bayer Leverkusen. 20 years we've waited for this. And as if one Geordie scoring wasn't enough for her, Kieran Trippier threads this ball through the middle of the defence for Sean Longstaff. And I have to say, Kieran Trippier has been like an assist machine this season and has been defensively so good. I can't get over what a great signing that was. That might be the most important signing, other than Alan Shearer, in the history of Newcastle United. Why? Because he is a winner. And he has set the tone for that dressing room of the expectations to win football matches, important ones, to get you to cup finals and to put you in with a chance of beating teams like this. That's how important Kieran Trippier has been in Newcastle. Massive. Plays it through to Sean Longstaff, who smashes it at the keeper, and he gets a hand to it, but it still finds its way into the back of the net. Not one, but two Geordies score. I was in dreamland, and that's when it really set in my head, like, oh no, we are winning this. We are absolutely winning this. But they did get a goal back, and then my arse went once again. I was fucking panicking. Just looking at Longstaff there, though, flying in the air with all those Geordies celebrating. Every single young lad's dream who grew up in Newcastle watching Alan Shearer. I mean, he's literally living it right there. And I've got to give credit for this ball, though, for PSG. What a chip in behind as the runner makes his way into the box and heads it in. That level of class was barely shown by PSG, but that was a reminder. The class that they have, just in them tiny little spells that we did give them to breathe, was above what we have. But they were so overwhelmed by us, we didn't give them enough time to do much more than this. Thank God. Again, I want to single out Jamal Lascelles, because this touch from Dembele to take it on here, you're thinking normally he goes through and he works the keeper at the very least, if not scores. Jamal Lascelles, who's getting on, catches him and puts such a vital challenge in at 3-1. And that is why Jamal Lascelles is better than Harry Maguire. And I've said it for years. I've been ridiculed. Jamal Lascelles will make less mistakes than Maguire. He's better positionally than Maguire. He makes good tackles. He's got the strength of Maguire. And he's a better leader and a calmer influence at the back than Harry Maguire. This sent me into orbit. Fabian Schar makes a tackle in the opposition's third. God knows why our centre-back is that far forward, but he is. So far forward, I thought it was Bruno to start off with. Plays a lovely a little 1-2 with Murphy, and he hits it from here. And he's actually falling over as he strikes it. Still manages to wrap his foot round it, curls it into the top corner, and if you've seen my live stream, I did get a bit excited. The microphone stopped working. I did scream quite loud there. Sorry about that. And this result will put other footballers on notice when they check the scoreline. Newcastle United beat PSG 4-1. These guys are serious. These guys are a club I might want to play for. You see the atmosphere. You see what we're creating. This is the type of result that puts you on the map of world football. And look at that. I mean, the way he strikes that is not clean. So God knows how that flies in. And the best thing about it, when you think about the players who scored, Almiron, Schar, Longstaff, and Burn, they're hardly the biggest stars. I mean, 3 out of the 4 of them were signed by Mike Ashley, for Christ's sakes. And yet, we've still got journalists moaning about us, by the way. Oliver Holt, who is the chief sports writer for the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. And I've got nothing against this guy personally. I don't know him. But he said, great result for Newcastle tonight. Hard not to be pleased for supporters on a night like this. But let's not pretend there was any romance about it. One repressive state beat another repressive state. No romance. Two Geordies who were thought to be like, you know, barely Premier League level to some people, scoring in the Champions League against one of the best funded clubs in the history of the competition, with arguably, if not the best footballer in world football playing for them. But there's no romance about it, bro. You're coming across like a really miserable person there. Yes, I know we're owned by Saudi. Eventually, they may spend a shitload of money on us, but we're nowhere near that point. Like, yes, there's some money been spent, but a lot, if not the majority of this, is down to a lot of hard work, determination, and the roar of the crowd. To say there's no romance, man, Christ almighty, you know, you must be fun to be around at Christmas. Nick Pope, what was 10 million on him? Kieran Trippier, 10 million. Jamal Lascelles, 4 million. Schar, 3 million. Burn, 10 million. Like, this is nowhere near the level of spend that a lot of people have. And yeah, I mean, further up the pitch, we've got Guimaraes, but even then, you could say we got him for a bargain of a deal. Almiron Almiron was bought under Mike Ashley, Longstaff, homegrown player. Yes, there's Isak and Gordon. We spent a fair amount on them, but we're nowhere near the state-owned club, like in terms of the spending so far. Nowhere near what you're making us out to be. You can have your opinion on Saudi and Qatari, and that's up to you. But yeah, we're just happy. So, can't take the smile off of our face, can you? Mbappe tried to get on the ball as much as he could. He was roaming around, coming deep. He literally was all over the pitch, and it made no difference. We went with an aggressive style, we played without fear, and we pinned them back the way we do to every team at St. James's Park, and it worked. I have to give so much credit to Eddie Howe. I mean, what he's been able to do is truly unbelievable. We were 19th and so bad when he picked us up. We were hopeless. I genuinely thought, as good as Eddie might be, and I thought he was a decent manager, we're relegated. We're too far gone. There's too much damage been done by Steve Bruce. Even with these few players in, you're not going to be able to turn them around. And to take us from 19th to the top 4 to then beating PSG with the amount of money he spent, and look, he spent a bit, but it's hardly like you'd have expected him to transform us this much. No way. Many other football clubs have spent plenty of money and not had these results. And in this Premier League, where you've got some really top managers like Guardiola, Klopp, even Unai Emery, Arteta, De Zerbi, for Eddie Howe to turn us into the force he has, he deserves all the credit in the world. And without doubt, is the best English manager we've seen since the likes of Harry Redknapp and before him, Sir Bobby Robson. This is the modern day English manager you're looking at right now. And it's ironic that so many clubs are struggling who have the weight of expectation on their shoulders. And I know this is a big Sam quote, but fucking hell, if he had a name that is more fancy sounding, we would be struggling to keep a hold of him. But right now, people still aren't 100% convinced, it seems, and I am convinced. I think he's a really good manager, and I think we should keep on to him as long as we can, because he's capable of winning a trophy. I don't know if it's a Premier League title, but he's capable of winning a trophy, and that for us is like everything. So currently Newcastle are in 8th place in the Premier League after a rough few results earlier in the season, but we seem to have turned it round now. 2 wins on the bounce in the Premier League. We got a draw away to Milan, a win at PSG. We really have a chance of qualifying for the next round of the Champions League, and I can't believe I'm saying that. And if we can just try and maintain the home form, I think we'll do it, which is mental. But even if we ended up in the Europa League, I wouldn't be disappointed, because as we're already punching above our weight. So this is unbelievable. So that's all I've got to say for now on one of my favourite nights in football ever. Don't forget to like this video, and remember, this Sunday we're back 4 o'clock. It's Arsenal versus Manchester City. It's going to be a great game. We'll be live on the Kickoff YouTube channel. Come and hang out with us. It's going to be a good laugh. Let us know what topics you want talked about in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.